Hi Sagittarius, welcome to your week ahead tarot scope with me, Raphael from Reydiant Reality. Your key to the week this week is the High Priestess. So something for you this week is being revealed. This is where I like the High Priestess because, I mean, it's one of my favorite cards anyway, but the High Priestess usually shows up when something is about to be revealed to you, right? And very often, certainly with people that move in spiritual circles, so much like yourself, if you're watching a tarot reading, you're at least some kind of spiritual, right? So what tends to happen with the High Priestess is it's something that shows up that confirms an intuitive nudge or hit that you've had in some regard. So what this really speaks to me about is you are... what's the word that I'm looking for? Yes. Okay. So you're gaining you're gaining a verification on something that you had intuitively felt was a certain way. So what I will say to you is over the course of this week, don't be surprised if many things are revealed to you or if a secret is divulged to you. The High Priestess can represent hidden things revealed, and so that's one of the reasons that this card represents secrecy. It's not the concealment of things, it's actually the deconcealment of things. It's the revealing of things. That's one of the things that I love about the High Priestess. Her very nature is opposite to like the Seven of Swords, which is about lies, deceit and concealment. So something is being revealed to you this week. Now in terms of your own intuition, your own intuitive faculties, etc., this is a really good week to pay attention to all of your intuitive nudges and hunches, especially if you have it on that like gut deep sort of kind of visceral level. What I will also say to you as well, one of the things that I love about this card, it often shows up when we are about to or we're having prophetic dreams. So if you're noticing that you're having, or at least a recurring theme throughout your dreamscape over the course of this week, it wouldn't be a surprise to me. With that said, I would like to bless my deck of cards with all forms of love, like peace, prosperity and abundance. And I pray that the messages that come through are ultimately clear and concise. They help you on your path to your highest vibrational good. So for your actions and options this week, you have the Queen of Wands, right? So in some way, shape or form, you yourself show up in your actions and options. Yes, this card isn't actually ruled by Sagittarius, but it definitely has that fiery feel. Now you've got this here with the High Priestess. This suggests to me that this week, a lot of you are going to be sharing or divulging something about yourself, or potentially speaking about something that you've been working really hard on. And this is about you revealing that to the world, or certainly sharing more of it. Now, what's really interesting to me is the Queen of Wands very often has an element of boundaries about it. It's where you're having to really reinforce something. So what this says to me in terms of the High Priestess is you are presenting something, and it's almost like you're not allowing some part of you or some part of your work to be diluted. So maybe you present something and someone says, oh, you know, yeah, that's great, this is like this. And you're like, no, it's this, right? So this week you could be clearly defining something that you've been working on already to push out into the world. When it comes to your options or options that are available to you, it's likely to be either through fellow fire signs that they come, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius, or potentially, more than likely, through a woman or a feminine influence in your life. Now, the reason I say a feminine influence, not just because of the way that the world is going and changing and adapting and evolving, but more importantly, I know, especially because I happen to be an effeminate man to a degree, you know, I know lots of effeminate men, and I also know a lot of really masculine women. So this is why I say it could be a feminine influence. It doesn't necessarily have to be a woman, but it's very likely that it will be. Now, that being said, I like this combination because it seems to me that on the spiritual level, some of you are gaining some form of healing this week that could really unlock a new level for you. When it comes to your communications and conversations, you've got the Seven of Wands, so there are going to be disputes this week. And potentially some of what you're learning this week, you know, maybe it sets the cat amongst the pigeons and you kind of have to set a record straight in some regard. I wouldn't be surprised as well, because you've got the Queen of Wands here. So this is you having to really sort of put your foot down on something. And this is potentially where you're having to have a hard conversation to kind of get some not a person necessarily, but get a situation in check. Now, for those of you that are studying or in some form of academia, you are going to want to challenge something that you learned, something that you're told this week. And the reason I feel this is the case, it's maybe like you're given a piece of information by a teacher, a professor, a lecturer, a coach, maybe not a therapist, but do you know what I mean? Like somebody that is considered like a higher up peer to you, right? And so it's like whatever information you're getting this week, it's like, oh no, hang on a sec. You didn't tell us this from the offset and you can't just drop this bombshell on us now. When it comes to those of you that are employed by somebody else, this, I think, and for a lot of you, there seems to have been this thing going on behind the scenes in work. And I think this week you finally get privy to what it is. The company's changing. Maybe they're shifting around the management. Maybe somebody's walked out and nobody's known about it until now. Whatever it is, it's revealed to you. And when it does come through, I think you're going to be a little bit pissed. Not so much, I don't think because it really directly affects you. I think it's more because you've been left out of the loop. For those of you that are business owners, entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, people that work for themselves, if you are having any form of challenge, issue or dispute, this does suggest to me that this week you are going to have it out. It's almost like you're having that final conversation or discussion to kind of say, okay, listen, this is how we're going to proceed and this is what I'm going to accept or not accept, as the case may be. For those of you that are retired and no longer working, honestly, the drama could be coming through the family, and if it is, it just means that you're going to have to, you might even have to play mediator. There's no temperance card here to suggest this as yet, but there is a part of me that kind of feels like you're not necessarily getting into the argument, but you're watching one play out and you're almost having to umpire the whole thing. For those of you, and then when it comes to your love and relations, you've got the Wheel of Fortune, right? So a lot of your energy in there. For those of you that are single, I would say this is probably a week where you are either connecting to or reconnecting to somebody that you've met previously on or through your travels. It might have only been a smile. It might have been a 5-minute conversation and you never really thought about them, or maybe you have thought about them and it's like this person turns up this week and you're like, hang on a sec, how are we crossing paths again here? For a select few of you, if you are starting to date someone and you know, maybe you're talking and it's getting a little serious, I am going to say this week it does potentially look like you're realizing that this person is either not as single as they profess to be, or you have competition. All right, I mean, you're a Sagittarius, so you're blatantly going to win this, but you know, we gotta call it what it is. For those of you that are married, partnered, or in long-term commitments, this is a lot of fire with a little bit of water, so it could be quite steamy, it could be quite intimate. If you're planning to travel with your significant other, this could actually be really nice. Because you've got it with that 7 of Wands though, I kind of feel like this is you guys maybe having a disagreement about which way you're going to get there. So you're both like, yeah, we're going to, I don't know, just pick a destination, right? We're going here. And then you're saying, well, you know, if we cut round and and don't go this way, actually it would be better. And then your significant other's like, well, no, because if we could just go straight through, and it's like, you know where you're going, but you're having like this. To me, it's funny because like I felt a giggle straight away. So you might kind of have a moment where you're in the car and you're like, fine. And then after you'll just laugh about it because it's ridiculous. All right, like there's no issue here. The Wheel of Fortune is actually a blessing influence, so I love this. You've got it with the High Priestess though, and what this does suggest to me is either you and your significant other are sharing something deeper with each other about yourselves, or you are both learning something together. Maybe behind the scenes, or you're learning something together that really kind of, it changes how you view something, maybe something out in the world, maybe, do you know what I mean? Like it's really interesting because the way that I see this, I'm kind of like, okay, like I just get this feeling that you're going to come across or gain some really profound sort of tidbit of knowledge. Hey, listen, I'm here for it. For your 6 of Pentacles, for the money and materials, you've got the 6 of Pentacles. Potentially a dispute here over money, finances and resources. This may be that somebody hits you up for cash and you're not entirely sure about whether you want to give the money. Not because you're being spiteful or anything like that. It's probably because intuitively maybe this person comes to you and says, you know, I need this money to fix my car. And in the back of your mind or your intuition, you're like, this isn't the full story. And I will say, I'll back you up on this. You're not getting the full story on it. So just be mindful about lending money this week. It's probably not a good idea. In terms of your finances and resources, this with the Seven of Wands, there's not an argument over money, but it's almost like something that's been promised that is either not showing up the way that it's supposed to, or it's coming in dribs and drabs. You know, like there's nothing worse than when, you know, let's say you lend someone a chunk of money and rather than just give you back that same chunk, they give you, you know, dribs and drabs. Like, okay, if that's the way that you do it, just put it aside and then give it to me in one, right? When it comes to your physical health and vitality, this is going to be your neck, your throat and your voice. Especially if you work in any field like I do, where you're constantly talking, watch out for this week. You absolutely must, all right? There's a lot of fire here as well. So I touch wood, I hope I'm wrong, but this is looking a lot like some kind of back of the throat viral infection, potentially tonsillitis as well, because it's just, look how much fire there is here. So this is a lot of fire in the body, specifically in the throat. All right, so I hope I'm wrong. Look after yourselves, dose yourselves up, make sure if you're not allergic, eat a piece of ginger every other day, get some oregano oil, or as one of my friends calls it, Satan's tears. Make sure you read the label, you know, do all the things. I'm not a doctor, I'm not a medical professional, I can't give you that kind of advice, but this is what seems to be coming up when it comes to, and there's a lot of throat chakra stuff going on here as well for some of you as well. That just literally just came in. And then finally for your home and environment, you've got the Six of Pentacles. For a lot of you, there might be some action that's needed to be taken on the home this week in order to do some kind of repair. You could kill two birds with one stone. If somebody hits you up for money and there's something that you need done in the home that they can actually do, this would be a really great compromise. All right. With that said, I wish you an abundance of all of that good stuff. Have a fantastic week. Let me know in the comments how it shapes up. Take care, and I'll see you soon.